Welcome to the Bentonville battlefield. This is right outside of Smithfield, North Carolina, kind of in between Dunn off of Highway 701, which you can also connect off of Interstate 40. We're going to go take a tour of this battlefield. This is on the Civil War trails that North Carolina has with all the different battlefields. So let's go check it out. Once you arrive here at the Bentonville battlefield, there's a quarter-mile history walking trail, which starts just beyond that line of woods. There's a cannon over there, if you can see in the middle of the screen. And then the battlefield tour, I was told, is a 10 or 12 mile driving tour. And as you can see behind us, just over there is the cemetery. Check that out. And we'll do the walking tour, and like I said, this is the entrance after you pull in. Here we're standing at the cemetery here at the Bentonville battlefield. It says, time may teach us to forgive, but it can never make us forget. And it says, by the evening of March 25th, 1865, both the Union and Confederate armies had vacated the village of Bentonville. The Union Army advanced toward Goldsboro while the Confederates moved to nearby Smithfield. Not only did local citizens have to cope with hundreds of wounded Confederate soldiers left behind after the battle, residents found their property covered with graves of over 500 Union and Confederate soldiers killed during the battle. Dead soldiers were buried in marked graves so that their remains could be located elsewhere and removed and taken elsewhere after the war. The Confederate dead were buried on the battlefield either by their comrades, Union soldiers, or local residents. 20 of the 23 Confederates who died in the Harper house were buried by the Harper family adjacent to the family cemetery, which sits in front of you and to your left. In 1865, the U.S. government established several national cemeteries in North Carolina, and Union soldiers buried in Bentonville were re-entered into the Raleigh National Cemetery. The fallen comrades were left in their unmarked and poorly marked graves for nearly 30 years before concerted effort was made to honor them properly. It talks about here, this is the Goldsboro Rifle Monument, which stands right here. It also says here, as the last token of friendship and remembrance of the brother, soldier, and companion in arms, I was plucked from the earth on a nice little wild plum tree filled with white blossoms and planted as it pray its head as I done before. It's an excerpt from Clark L. Reed on March 24th, 1865. Also at the entrance is this memorial. It says, in memory of the North Carolina soldiers who fought and died so courageously, and the civilians who suffered so grievously during the Battle of Bentonville, March 19th through March 21st, 1865. So you've got your soldiers, and then obviously you've got your civilians there. It's a very, very nice memorial. Essentially what the cemetery looks like is it says unknown Confederate soldiers died of wounds in the Battle of Bentonville. They pretty much all say that. And then there's another line all the way on the back side there. And as you kind of walk down here, kind of what's interesting is these pine trees they've kept inside the cemetery. And then there's a kind of a makeshift little fence to keep you out, which I'm a big fan of around cemeteries. And then you come to this main cemetery over here with the wrought iron gate around it, and it has the Harper name on it on a placard there. And if you look, this is interesting. So this backside is all blank, and this here says, in loving memory of Amy Ann Harper, and these are all, that's John Harper, and then it just kind of runs through the Harper family. A couple of unmarked That one just says CB on it. John Harper, born 1883, died on October 1884. Vanished as a sunbeam. Oh, that's sad. Didn't live very long. Fortunately, though, back then that was a lot more common than it is now. And then you come around this other side here. Jasper Harper, born 1856, died 1885. And there it is. That's the cemetery at Bentonville. Here's another memorial at the front, at the entrance. It says, Texas remembers the valor and devotion of her sons who served at Bentonville. In 1865, it said, the 8th Texas Cavalry was engaged with the left wing of Sherman's Union Army on the eve of the Battle of Bentonville. During the battle on March 21st, the 8th Texas again performed valuable service in the Confederate attack on the Union General Joseph Mower's division of the 17th Army Corps. Lieutenant General William Hardee, commanding a corps in the battle, ordered about 80 of the men of the 8th Texas, commanded by Captain Doc Matthews, a mere boy, to oppose the Mower's advance. The Texans attacked in conjunction with other cavalry commanded by General Ray Hampton and Cummings Georgia Brigade. Young Willie Hardee, General Hardee's only son, charged with the 8th Texas and was killed under heavy Confederate pressure. Mower soon withdrew his division to its original position during the Confederate retreat from the Bentonville. The 8th and 11th Texas Cavalry played a prominent role. And then if you go to the other side of this, it says in opposing the Union pursuit from the Mill Creek Bridge until the pursuers withdrew at Hannah's Creek at the Texans. The Texans were surrendered with the remnants of the Army of the Tennessee at Greensboro, North Carolina, in 1865. Texas units at Bentonville, 6th, 7th, 10th, and 15th. Texas Infantry, 17th, 18th, 24th, and 25th. Dismounted Cavalry, 8th and 11th Texas Cavalry. It says this is a memory to all Texans who served the Confederacy, erected by the state of Texas in 1964. That's really cool. It says on this spot and in this vicinity was fought the Battle of Bentonville, March 19, 1865. It said Colonel Saffield, Columbus Gillum. Wow, that's neat. Bunch of different names here. Everett King, Duncan Brown, Jacob Sowers, J.R. Stringfield, T.J. Nail, Williams Beavers. It says about 300 unknown Confederate died and are buried here. So here we are at the trenches. Here's kind of the field. There's the cemetery. There's the entrance right there. And you kind of walk up onto where it says don't climb on the trenches. And there is a pretty cool cannon sitting here. Obviously aimed towards where the battle did take place. One of the placards at the entrance there does tell you about it. And then it just kind of curls around to the other corner, stops, then you have an entrance that brings you into the beginning of the walk. If you have your horse with you, you can't bring your horse, but if you have your 2 feet with you, you can do that. So let's go on the tour.